The ancient Stoics were experts at understanding human emotions and behavior. Even though they didn't write directly about romantic relationships, their ideas about self-control, emotional discipline, and reading between the lines of human behavior are just as useful today as they were hundreds of years ago. The Stoics knew that emotions drive most of our decisions, and they practiced managing those emotions to gain power over themselves and others. In today's episode, we'll talk about how you can use these same ideas to make women miss you even if they weren't interested at first. The key is emotional mastery and the subtle psychological moves you make. Trust me, if you follow these 7 powerful steps, women will. When you don't contact a woman, she will start to think about you, wonder what you're doing, and miss you deeply. Make sure you watch the whole video, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If you've had any experience with this, share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Let's start with the first chapter. Chapter 1. Don't contact her. This may seem like the opposite of what you should do, but it's the best way to make a woman miss you. You're not trying to play games with her feelings. You're just creating space that will make her curious and longing. People value things more when they can't get to them all the time. If you're always there, texting or calling, you become part of her routine. And while patterns are comforting, they're also very boring. By calling back, you change the dynamic. Stoics were ancient people who believed in controlling their impulses and emotional discipline. They never let themselves be overly reactive to outside situations, choosing instead to stay calm and detached. In the same way, you need to resist the urge to reach out to her all the time. The more you give her attention, the more she takes it for granted, but when you go back, you create a space where she starts to notice your absence. Here's the interesting part. Even if she wasn't interested in you to begin with, your absence makes her think about the situation again. She starts to wonder why you stopped texting, calling, or engaging with her, and she might even start to wonder if she misjudged how she felt about you. When you're gone, she'll realize the void you left behind. Most men make the mistake of being too available. They think that they need to talk to a woman all the time to keep her interested. But this is where the Stoic philosophy of restraint comes in. By not reaching out, you show her that you're not emotionally dependent on her response or validation. You have your own life to live, and you're not going to drop everything to chase after her. However, consistency is key here. It's not helpful to call her back after a day or two and then suddenly show up with a text message explaining your silence. If you want to achieve true detachment and mastery of this strategy, you have to accept the silence without giving a reason. The more she wonders why you're not calling, the more she'll miss the attention she used to take for granted. Imagine this. She checks her phone every day expecting to see a message from you, but nothing comes. As the hours pass, she starts to wonder why you haven't reached out. Did she do something wrong? The more she thinks about it, the worse she feels. Put money into it, and here's the beauty of it. She thinks about you more when you're not in her inbox than when you were constantly there. This strategy works so well because it forces her to face her feelings, even if she wasn't interested at first. The space you created will make her question her previous disinterest. You snuck up on her, and now she's trying to figure out why she misses the attention she wanted and took for granted. She'll wonder if she misread your signals, or if she's no longer in charge of the situation. The longer you keep this distance, the stronger her feelings will become. Absence really does make the heart grow. In this case, it will make her miss you even if she wasn't really into you before. If she can figure out why you've gone quiet, she'll find herself thinking about you a lot more than she did when you were always there. Another thing to think about is how this affects her view of you. If you're not constantly trying to get her attention, you give off an air of confidence and self-assurance that is undeniably attractive. You're not needy or desperate for her approval, which makes you stand out from the majority of men who can't seem to stop texting. By not being there, you show her that you value her time and don't need constant interaction to feel validated. This air of independence is very powerful. Stoics believed that people should focus on their own inner strength and self-control instead of needing approval from others. By not contacting her, you're practicing this very idea. You're showing emotional discipline and self-respect. You're not letting your need for connection control your behavior, and women find that very attractive. Of course, this doesn't mean ignoring her forever. Eventually, she'll be wondering why you've been MIA, and when she does, you'll have the upper hand because she'll be the one to initiate contact, which gives you the upper hand. You've successfully created a situation where she misses you, even if she didn't care at first, and now she's more invested in the interaction than she was before. In conclusion, don't underestimate the power of silence. By not contacting her, you give her a chance to think about her feelings and realize what she's missing. You go from being just a guy she talks to becoming the guy she's thinking about, which is the first step in making her miss you badly. Part 2. Show her that you're still living your life, even if she wasn't interested at first. One of the most important things you can do to make a woman miss you is to show her that you're still living your life without her. Once you stop chasing her and focus on your own goals, passions, and social life, she'll start to notice that women are drawn to men who are active and involved in their own lives. When you show her that you're happy without her, she'll start to wonder what's keeping you so busy, which makes her miss you even more. If you think about the Stoics, especially Marcus Aurelius, who was a Roman emperor and one of the most powerful men in the world, he stressed the importance of focusing on your own journey, no matter what other people said or did. In modern terms, this means not putting your life on hold for anyone, especially a woman. When you stop basing your actions on her and focus on your career, hobbies, and friendships, you send a strong message. I don't need you to complete me. My life is already full. Imagine that while she's wondering why you haven't texted or called, she's looking at your social media and seeing that you're out having fun with friends, working out, or pursuing your dreams. You're not just waiting for her to notice you. You're too busy making yourself better than you were yesterday. This approach hits deep because it plays on one of the deepest fears women have: being replaced, or when she sees that your life hasn't stopped because she's not around, she starts to feel the pressure you're putting on her to accept that you're fine without her. This is often a bitter pill to swallow because she's afraid of missing out, anxious about being forgotten, and hungry for the thought that you might move on to someone else. This is where many men go wrong. They think that by cutting off contact and showing they're living their life, they need to rub it in her face. But that's not how you play the game. Don't go overboard, brag about your lifestyle. Keep it subtle. Post pictures of you hanging out with friends, enjoying a new hobby, or even just relaxing with a good book. The more she sees you thriving, the more she'll want to be a part of it. The best part is that this strategy works whether she was interested in you at first or not. If she wasn't interested in you at first, she starts to be curious about why you're so happy living on your own and not chasing after her like every other guy does. She starts to wonder why you're so at peace with yourself, and in trying to answer these questions, she'll find herself thinking about you more and more. The Stoics believed in the power of inner fulfillment, and this is what you're demonstrating. When you show her that you're living your life by not being desperate for her attention, you prove that your happiness doesn't depend on her. This makes you incredibly attractive as it goes against the grain of what most women are used to. They're used to men clamoring for their attention, trying to impress them and altering their lives just to get a moment of their time. You, on the other hand, are showing that your time is valuable and that your life is Mitch with or without her in it. The key here is consistency. You can't just act like you're living your life for a few days and then fall back into the trap of chasing her. You have to fully embrace this mindset because it's not just a tactic, it's a lifestyle. Once you truly internalize this idea of self-sufficiency, it will become second nature, and she'll sense that you're genuinely content. That's when the tables turn and she starts to feel the distance between you. When she reaches out, and she will eventually, you'll be in a position of strength. You won't need to drop everything to respond to her. You've already shown her that your life is moving forward with or without her attention, and the longer she watches you thrive from a distance, the more she'll start to miss you, even if she didn't care, before she'll begin to feel a sense of loss. Because she knows that you're living a life that doesn't revolve around her. And that's a powerful thing in the end. Showing her that you're still living your life is one of the most effective ways to make her miss you. You're not just sitting around waiting for her to text back. You're out there building your own empire. And as the Stoics would remind us, true strength comes from within, not from external internal validation. When you embody that, she'll feel it, and she'll miss you. Chapter 3. Don't give in to the attention bait. Women are masters at subtly seeking attention, whether it's a strategically placed social media post or a casual text that seems innocent. These little actions are often designed to draw you back in. But here's the Stoic secret. The more you resist this bait, the more power you have over the dynamic. When a woman is accustomed to men responding to her every little move, it becomes a game to her, one that she feels she can easily control. However, when you don't react, when you refuse to give her the validation she's fishing for, she starts to realize that she doesn't control you, and that's when she begins to miss you. It's important to understand that it's human nature to desire what we can't have. Women, like men, are wired this way. When you don't take the bait, when you maintain your emotional discipline and stay cool, calm, and collected, you sift the power dynamic. Suddenly she's forced to reevaluate her understanding of you. Why isn't you reacting like all the other guys? Why isn't he falling into the track of seeking my approval or validation? This creates a sense of mystery around you, or a challenge. She becomes eager to figure out. The Stoics preached about not being swayed by external forces, and this situation is a modern reflection of that wisdom. When she posts a picture designed to get your attention, or sends a casual text to test the waters, don't answer right away. In fact, don't answer at all. Let her think about it. The longer she waits, the more her mind will wonder and overanalyze the silence. If you react, she'll start to wonder what's going on, and that's exactly when she starts missing you. Most men constantly seek validation from women. They're always chasing that little bit of attention, eagerly responding to every message or post. But if you ignore her far, you're completely flipping the script. Now she's the one who wants validation from you. She starts to wonder if you've lost interest, moved on, or even worse, found someone else. This uncertainty starts to eat away at her, making her think about you more often than she probably expected. You're resisting her attention-seeking behavior. You're giving her a good lesson about not having enough. If she knows she can't always get what she wants from you, she'll start to value your time and care much more. The Stoics knew how important it was to resist urges, especially ones that try to take control of your feelings. Music. Not only will you save your own emotional energy, but she'll also see that you're different from other people who FS over her. She might not even know she's trying to bait you, but that doesn't make the move any less sneaky. It could be a selfie with friends at a party, or a text message that says something like, "Missed your face today," or "Just thought of you." These may seem like harmless things at first, but they're actually subtle ways to get your attention. If you respond too quickly or too easily, you're giving her power and showing her that you're available at her command. But if you hold back, something amazing will happen. She'll start to wonder why you didn't respond or acknowledge that selfie. What's going on in your life that's more important than giving her attention? Is there someone else on your mind right now? She'll be thinking about you all the time, even if she doesn't have strong feelings for you. This way of holding back may feel awkward at first. After all, it's natural to want to return the favor. But the Stoics say that being able to resist temptation and control your impulses is a sign of strength and self-mastery. By not giving in to the attention bait, you show her and yourself that you're not easily swayed or manipulated. You're in charge of your emotions and actions, and that's a quality. The DG of this strategy is that it works on a subconscious level. She may not know why she's thinking about you more, but it's because you're not feeding into the cycle of constant validation. You've created a gap, or silence, and her mind starts to fill in the blanks. The longer you hold back, the stronger that set becomes, and she'll end up reaching out more and trying harder to get your attention. Now you're in charge, thanks to some emotional restraint, which the Stoics were very good at. So the next time you get one of those seemingly harmless texts or social media posts trying to get your attention, remember that the more you resist, the more she'll miss you. This isn't about playing games. It's about practicing restraint and letting her realize how valuable you are by your absence. She'll start to wonder why she hasn't heard from you, and that's when you'll know you're in her head. She'll miss the attention, miss your presence, and eventually miss you completely. Part 4. Or don't be in a hurry. Be vague when the time comes for you to make contact. It's essential that you don't act eager or overexcited. In fact, the less eager you appear, the better. This is where the power of being vague really comes into play. Don't rush to share every detail about what you've been doing, who you've been with, or what's been happening in your life. Instead, keep things mysterious and elusive. Why? Because people, especially women, are naturally drawn to what they don't fully understand. It's a psychological hook. When you leave things unsaid, she's more likely to fill in the blanks with her own imagination, often creating an idealized version of you in her mind. The Stoics, in their infinite wisdom, believed that control over one's words was a mark of true strength. They were masters of silence and minimalism, understanding that not every thought or emotion needs to be expressed. This principle can be applied here when you do finally talk to her. Give her just enough information to keep her intrigued, but not so much that she feels like she has you figured out. Being vague allows you to maintain an air of mystery, which can make you incredibly alluring. If she asks you what you've been doing, don't give her a detailed account of your weekend. Instead, say something like, "I've been busy," and then change the subject. This will leave her thinking what he's been doing and who he's been with. She'll still be curious about you after the conversation is over, which will make her think about you more than if you gave her all the answers. The desire to know more often leads to more interest and, finally, missing you. Being vague doesn't mean giving up or calling her names. It means controlling the flow of information so that you give her just enough to keep her interested, but not so much that she's happy. If you give her a small taste of something tasty, she'll want the whole thing, but in the meantime, she'll start to miss you, even if she didn't think she cared that much before. It's important to remember that eagerness can be a turnoff. If you're too excited to talk to her or share every detail of your life, it can seem like you're trying to get her approval or attention, which is the exact opposite of what you want. By being vague and keeping your cards close to your chest, you show that you're in charge of the conversation, your emotions, and your life in general. You're not looking for validation from her. That's very beautiful about her. The Stoics would have viewed this restraint as an extension of their philosophy of self-control. They knew that true power comes from within, from the ability to govern one's own desires and impulses. By not to share everything, you're showing that you have this inner strength, that you don't need external validation to feel good about yourself. And this is exactly what will make her miss you. She'll see that you're not like other guys who are desperate for her attention. You're different. You're in control. You're self-assured, and most importantly, you're mysterious. When she starts thinking about you in this way, her desire for you will grow. She'll want to know more about you, to uncover the parts of your life that you're keeping hidden. And as she spends more time thinking about you, wondering what you're up to, she'll start to miss you, even if she wasn't particularly interested in you. Before this sense of mystery will make her feel drawn to you, she'll start imagining what her life could be like with someone as intriguing and composed as you, and that's when you've truly captured her attention. The fifth, make people jealous. There's no need to play mind games, but a little jealousy can go a long way toward making a woman miss you. That doesn't mean you should make her feel insecure or inferior, but you should let her see that she's not the only person in your life. When a woman realizes that she's not your sole focus, it makes her feel like she has to compete for your attention, which makes her want you even more. Women, whether they admit it or not, have a natural instinct to want to compete for the attention of high-value men. Once she sees that other women or people in general enjoy your company and value your time, she realizes that she's not the only thing that matters to you. This is important because when she feels like she's competing for your attention, she'll want you more. It's just how people work. When you make your time and attention less available, she'll start to understand how important it really is. The Stoics were all about emotional indifference, which means not letting outside things like other people's thoughts or actions affect your own inner state. Getting her jealous isn't a way to be manipulative or play games. It's a way to show that you don't care about her approval. You have your own life and your own circle, and you're not waiting for her to confirm your worth. When she sees that you're living your life without her and that other people are interested in you, she'll feel compelled to get back with you. You can make her feel jealous in delicate ways. She'll wonder what she's missing out on and why she's not getting his attention. Say that you've been hanging out with friends or going on a trip, but don't go into too much detail in case she wants to know more. As we already talked about, keep your answers unclear. The goal is for her to see that your life isn't all about her when she sees that other people, especially other women, are a part of it. It takes away her need to be competitive, and she'll work hard to get your attention. This method uses something women in their primal state want to feel special, like they have your attention more than anyone else. But when they realize that they might lose your attention to someone else, it makes them very emotional. She'll start thinking about you more often, wondering why you're not focused on her, and in doing so, she'll begin to miss you. The Stoics believed that emotional detachment was the key to maintaining inner peace by not obsessing over any one person or outcome. They were able to stay grounded and in control, in your case by not being overly eager or available, and by allowing a little jealousy to creep in. You're practicing that same emotional detachment. You're showing that you're not desperate for her approval or attention, and that's what will make her want you even more. It's important to note that jealousy should be created in a healthy, respectful way. This isn't about manipulating her emotions or making her feel bad. It's about showing her that you're a man with options, a man who values himself and his time. When she realizes that you're not waiting around for her, that other people find you attractive and interesting, she'll start to see you in a new light. And that's when she'll miss you, because she'll realize that she's not the only one vying for your attention, and you want to win it more than ever by creating a little healthy competition. By showing that you're not easily beaten, you make yourself more desirable, and that's exactly what will make her miss you, even if she wasn't interested at first. The Stoics knew the power of scarcity and emotional independence, and if you follow these rules, women will start to miss you without you having to do anything. Nickname for Chapter 6. Her nicknames may seem trivial, but they carry an incredible amount of psychological weight. When you give a woman a unique nickname, you're creating a personal connection that no one else shares with her. It's a subtle form of intimacy that doesn't require grand gestures, but works deeply in her subconscious. The Stoics understood that relationships are built on personal bonds, and using a special nickname is a quiet way to show that you see her in a way no one else does. Why does this make her miss you? Because every time she hears that nickname, whether it's from you or someone else, it will remind her of you. The name becomes associated with the emotional connection the two of you share. It's almost as if you've created a private language that only the two of you speak, and once you've called back and created distance, she'll miss that special connection. She'll start to realize that no one else has the kind of rapport with her, and that thought alone will make her miss the time she spent with you. But here's the twist. When you give her a nickname, don't overuse it. A nickname's power comes from how rare it is. Using this nickname too often will lose its appeal and power. Instead, use it occasionally and statically, letting her feel the weight of it when it's said. The more deliberate you are with when and how you use it, the more it sticks in her mind. She'll connect it with your connection with her and long to hear it again when you're not around. There's a subtle psychological trick at play here. By using a nickname, you're marking her as someone in your inner circle. When you pull away and stop using the nickname for a while, she'll start to miss that feeling of being singled out and having a special bond with you that no one else can copy. This strategy can be especially effective if you combine it with the silence you've created by not contacting her. She's already missing your attention, but now she's also missing the nickname that made her feel special even if she wasn't interested in you before. The nickname adds emotional depth to your relationship. It makes her realize that there's something about you that she can't get anywhere else, and that realization will make her miss you more than she ever thought possible. The Stoics believed that words had power, and that people should use them sparingly and wisely. A well-chosen nickname is a great example of this. It may seem small, but when used properly, it can mean a lot. When you combine your newfound emotional detachment with an emotional bond that's hard to break, You make it possible for her to miss you on a much deeper level. Remember that it's not about being manipulative. It's about making a connection that she values. And when she feels that connection even when you're not there, she'll miss the emotional closeness that nickname represents. The seventh, teach her something new. One of the best ways to make an impression on a woman, even if she's not interested at first, is to teach her something new. It could be a skill, a new way of thinking, or even a book, hobby, or philosophy she hasn't thought about before. Being the person who helps her learn about new things and become more open to them leaves a mark that lasts long after you stop talking to her. The Stoics thought that learning and self-improvement led to growth and enlightenment. You can follow this idea by becoming her teacher in some way. This works so well because teaching someone something makes you bond with them. People naturally feel connected to those who have taught them something useful, whether it's practical or emotional. If you're the one who introduced her to new perspectives, you'll be remembered. She'll connect the new experience or knowledge with you and think of you every time she uses that skill or remembers that idea, even when you're not there. But it's not just about teaching her something useful. It's also about getting her to think differently. Men who can make women think and feel are more attractive to women. If you can help her see the world in a new way, you set yourself apart from the other guys she talks to. You're not just another person texting her compliments or asking her out. You're someone who makes her life better, who makes her think, and who adds value in ways she didn't expect. Imagine you teach her something as simple as a new cooking technique, or you introduce her to Stoic philosophy itself. Every time she cooks the dish or read a quote from Marcus Aurelius, she'll think of you. The learning process becomes tied to her memories of you, and those memories will keep resurfacing, making her miss you more than if you had simply been another guy chasing her for attention. And here's where it gets even more powerful. Once you've taught her something, you call back. You don't hover over her, constantly checking in to see if she's practicing what you've taught her. You let her absorb it on her own. The Stoics were all about self-reliance, and by giving her the tools to learn something new, and then stepping back, you're showing her that you trust her to grow independently. This creates a sense of respect and admiration for you. She'll miss your presence because you've become a key figure in her personal development, not just someone who's looking for validation. The final twist in this tactic is the emotional bond that forms from shared experiences. When you teach her something, you're creating a moment that belongs only to the two of you. Even as she tries to push you out of her mind, she'll keep coming back to that moment, remembering how you made her feel both challenged and enlightened. And that's a feeling she won't easily forget. The Stoics knew that male strength comes from within, and when you teach a woman something new, you're helping her build that inner strength, but at the same time, you're ensuring that you remain a part of her journey even when you're not physically or emotionally present. That's the key to making her miss you. You've made yourself irreplaceable in her growth and learning by not contacting her, showing her that you're living your life and refusing to give in to her attention bait by being vague, making her jealous, using nicknames, and teaching her something new. You're practicing the art of stud detachment while still making her think about you all the time. You're not chasing her. You're drawing her to you by being a man who is in charge of his emotions, time, and life. These 7 strategies aren't about manipulating people. They're about understanding psychology and using it to your advantage. Stoics were good at this, and you can too. If you follow these rules, you'll find that women who weren't interested in you at first will start to miss the attention, mystery, and worth you bring to their lives. That's the power of Stoic attraction.